Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at GCNlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set and cocked, locked? Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USAPrepares.com. Of course, we're delighted that you're here, and we broadcast 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. If you'd like to call us, we'll pay for the call. 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. And there's a listen line if you're traveling and you'd like to bring us with you, 24/7, 365. That number is 605-477-3249. 605-477-3249. There's a link to all of your instructors on the website, USAPREPARES.com. John is engineering the broadcast in Minnesota at GCN, and I'm delighted to be broadcasting for the next 2 hours with Doug Hagmann. Welcome, Doug Hagmann.
Vince, thanks so much for having me, man. It's an honor to be on your program. It's been a while, and I've been looking forward to this all week, so thank you.
Well, me too, and I'm looking forward to being on Hagmann and Hagmann, the Hagmann Report, tomorrow night at 7 to 9 Central Time. And thanks so much for inviting me. So your website,
Yep.
Your website is Hagmann and Hagmann. That's with two N's, HAGMANNAND, HAGMANN.com. So, Doug, I had a question for you. Well, we first were introduced by the freeze dry guy, and he called me up and he said, "You got to meet this guy." I said, "Great, I'm all excited." So, yeah, it's been years since we've known each other, and we have a great relationship. And I'm so glad that the freeze dry guy did introduce us. But I have a question for you. How did you get involved in this broadcasting of the cutting edge news and reporting that you do? What brought you to that point?
Well, wonderful question. And I'm not even sure I could really answer that with any degree of coherence, I suppose. I've been an investigator in the private sector. In other words, a multi-state licensed private investigator for the last 30 years. 30 years last year, as a matter of fact. And I worked my way up through working for Fortune 100 companies, ultimately doing large value insurance fraud cases, anything over, well, at that time, $1 million, that seemed a little suspicious, whether it be a theft situation or a extortion or embezzlement or potential or even a suspicious death, for example, of a key man of a corporation, or even the backgrounds of key men for corporate board positions. This is what I did for a number of years. And I also worked during that period into the 1990s as an operational and informational asset for the FBI and the Department of Justice. Don't hold that against me. But having said that, after the attacks of 9/11, I was awakened by this threat, this ostensible threat by Islamic terrorism here in the United States. And I had known what everyone else knows, I suppose, at that mental level that, hey, we've got an issue that's brewing Middle East, and everyone kind of knows about that, but not to the degree of specificity required to really understand what's really taking place. So 9/11 happened, and so I started. I had talked to a bunch of investigators that really were at the top of their game all over the country. One who happened to be really, really good at infiltrating websites, for example, another that was really good at translating Farsi and Arabic, and the list went on and on. So about a dozen or so investigators and I got together, and we started something called the Northeast Intelligence Network at HomelandSecurityUS.com. And at the time, and this is back in 2002. I thought, this is kind of a cool name, and we had a lot of talent to offer. For example, the government, privately, and whatever we could do to keep the country safe. That was my thinking. So we began doing just that. In fact, we had done a lot of infiltrating of terrorist websites here based in the United States, and I had done some surveillance of some paramilitary training camps and turned this information over to the FBI. In fact, I've got a letter from the FBI saying, "Hey, your work is good, and we appreciate your help." And send information about domestic threats here and other stuff over there, and because of our previous relationship. So, to make a longer story short, the further we got into the investigating the Islamic terrorist threat, the more we realized that we had problems that did not fit the mold or the paradigm or the reality that people really believed things were. So I guess what I'm saying is, well, for example, when we infiltrated these terrorist websites, Arabic language terrorist websites, we began bumping heads with the CIA, with the FBI, with people that work for our government that are in these websites, and they were actually serving to stoke up the masses in these forums, if you will. Things seemed to be really out of place. We would turn over information. In fact, I personally did a very extensive surveillance and investigation of one of the largest terrorist websites here, or terrorist organizations here in the United States, the Muslims of the Americas. They were listed by the State Department as a terrorist organization. I had gotten film of them conducting paramilitary training exercises at the base of the Catskill Mountains, and turned all this documentation over to the FBI. No sooner than I turned that over, all of a sudden a religious statement was made against me by the head of this organization from Lahore, Pakistan, Sheikh Mubarak Ali Jalani, saying that I'm basically the scum of the earth. I am a Zionist, and I must be exterminated, essentially. So realizing that we had a problem, we had a leak, that our information was not being acted upon, and worse, it was being fed to the very people we were investigating. I took to the airwaves, and I made it to the sites of programs like Coast to Coast AM and other shows, and kind of the rest is history. We kind of settled in with my son, who at that time was developing. I was developing him as an investigative asset for me. He's now 33. He was in his mid-20s at the time, or early 20s. And bottom line is, it was kind of a natural progression of our initial duties, what we were doing initially. But now because of the problems, we decided to take it public and let people know, hey, everyone, there's a problem here, and it's not necessarily just the Islamic terrorists. It's coming from within, and it's coming from our own government. That's kind of
absolutely
the long story. Yeah,
absolutely fascinating. And so what I'm hearing is that our government is playing both sides. We are on both sides. We're on the enemy side. We're on our side. We can't tell who's who from our perspective. It's very difficult, right? Well,
yeah. And I guess when we really, when we were able to decide or to tell who's who, I got a knock on my office door, and it was a CIA. It was a CIA agent. From a local, or not local, but from a nearby larger city. We said, hey, we need to talk. And I said, okay, what do you want to talk about? And it was a female agent, and I invited her in, and we spoke, and she said, we're kind of bumping heads here. We're at the situation where, you probably should back out for your own safety. In other words, get your team and just kind of pack it up and go home. And my question was, why is that? Because we're turning over some good actionable intelligence. And she said, well, we got this, basically. Well, and I said, no, you don't have it. You really don't. Or if you think you do, I mean, there's something wrong. Well, after that meeting, we began kind of being, now I don't want to overstate this, but harassed and kind of treated like a redheaded stepchild with respect to the information that we provided. And the information was not acted upon. And we weren't vilified, but certainly the information that we provided was not taken to the right levels. And then pretty soon we became kind of a thorn in their side. Every time we'd uncover and I don't want to say a plot, but at least the elements of a plot, we were shut down immediately. And it was clear that they did not want us to be meddling in their affairs. And then, of course, subsequent to the information that we gave about the paramilitary training, I mean, I'm talking about people carrying semi-automatic weapons, AKs, and shooting up school buses. I mean, think about that. Shooting up school buses at the base of the Catskill Mountains in preparation for domestic attacks and having the FBI say, nah, it's really not what it seems to be. Well, what in the world is it then? And come to find out, the Sheikh Mubarak Ali Jalani from his home in Pakistan had published, subsequent to our investigation, turnover our investigation product, published photographs of FBI agents actually dining with the people at this paramilitary training compound, basically saying, hey, Doug, in your face, look at what we got. And the rest, as they say, is history. So do we have a problem? We've got a lot of problems. Yeah, that's kind of, and people might find that hard to believe, but I've got the documentation.
When I lived in Virginia about 10 years ago, there were reports of training camps in rural Virginia, and where some of these kind of activities that you're talking about were going on. And it didn't seem like the government was very interested in that either. So maybe... That's
Red House, Virginia, right? Is what you're referring to? Yeah, of course. Yeah, and that's, see, the headquarters for that very organization was up here was in Hancock, New York. And Red House now is the de facto location, head location there. So, yeah.
Okay, Doug Hagmann and I will be right back. And let's talk about, when we come back, Doug, war in the Middle East, what your thoughts are. Is it going to happen? Is it as a result of this collapsing economy? And then we'll talk about the collapsing economy. Doug Hagmann, hagmannandhagmann.com. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
You're fired.
According to the Small Business Administration, 75% of small businesses plan to eliminate jobs or reduce workers' hours to part-time.
You're fired.
According to Gallup, the unemployment rate recently jumped to nearly 9%, and the underemployment rate hit a staggering 17.9%.
You're fired.
1 out of 3 young adults and 1 out of 2 recent college graduates are underemployed. Hello, I'm Keith Abel, a pharmacist and a home business entrepreneur. In 2011, I became one of those statistics myself. Instead of looking for another job in corporate America, I joined Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. We're creating steady incomes for ourselves and would like to show you how to do the same. If you want to supplement your current income, replace your income, so you don't have to become one of the statistics, then give me a call toll-free at 866-257-3105, 866-257-3105.
You're fired.
Don't wait till you hear those words. Start creating an extra income today. 866-257-3105.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to goberkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. goberkey.com.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook. Supernatural Silver.
Attention USA Prepares listeners. When you're on the road or have limited data or Wi-Fi, now you can listen to USA Prepares unfiltered and untapped at no extra charge on this non-federal phone number, 1-605-477-3249. Try it now to listen to USA Prepares 24/7 at no extra cost or data charges. These are not on federal lines. These are lines located on Indian reservations off the grid. Call 1-605-477-3249. No smartphones or internet needed. To hear USA Prepares untapped and off the grid, just call 1-605-477-3249.
Doug Hagmann's with us, and Doug, John Reagan's on the air with me every Monday. Captain John Regan, U.S. Air Force Reserves, retired, and he is so excited about the Hear the Watchman conference that you've got coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll get into the war in the Middle East?
Sure.
I think that'd be...
Yeah, we're really excited about this. Now, just to be clear, okay, we are promoting Hear the Watchman. We're the MCs of the first day and on the media panel on the last day. So we are not the impetus, or that's the limits of our involvement with this. But we certainly support and promote Hear the Watchman conference in Dallas, Texas. That's going to take place on March 18th, 19th, and 20th, which is coming up pretty doggone quick, by the way. So you got to get your tickets very quickly. But please do so. And in fact, if you use, it's my understanding, if you just when you buy the tickets, I even think today, perhaps, maybe today, if you use my name, Hagmann, you might be able to still get under the wire with a reduced ticket price. I can't promise that, but I'm going to see what I can do. Maybe strong arm the conference people in charge of the conference. However, having said all of that, what a lineup! I mean, what a lineup! John Regan. I listened this morning to the interview yesterday you did with him. Fantastic guy. I love the guy, and I certainly hope, Vince, if you have the opportunity, if your schedule permits, if you could stop in, that would be great. But we've got people like John B. Wells, L.A. Marzulli, Pastor Billy Crone is going to be talking about artificial intelligence and the drone technology. Coach Dave Dobmeyer, America's coach. Reverend Flip Benham, and if you haven't heard Michael Boldia Jr., buckle up. Pastor David Langford, who I regard as my pastor, our pastor for our show. Paul McGuire, great friend, prolific author. Russ Dizdar. I mean, I can go on and on. Greg Jackson, Josh Tolley, Sheila Zielinski, John Robertson, the music of Joe Charles. What a guy. He does all of our voiceovers and such. This is a lineup of lineups, and I'm just so excited to be a part of this, to be able to promote it, and to be in the presence of these absolute fine individuals. And I mean, I would go, I'll tell you, I would spend the money to go just to hear, for example, hear Pastor Langford or any one of these people, but to get them all in one place and talking, oh man, that's going to be great. So I'm all excited for it. So March 18th, 19th, 20th, folks, mark your calendars. It's 17 days, 5 hours, 31 minutes away to be exact. And it's going to be fun. And you're going to walk away informed, inspired, and, well, that's it, informed and inspired, and with really a restoration, I think, that we all need right now, especially in these times in which we live. That's
I totally agree.
My sales pitch.
So, inspired and then take action. Okay, class. That's Dallas, Texas, March 18 and 20. There's a link on the website, usapreparedness.com, page 1, or you can go to hearthewatchman.com.
Yep.
And there's a link to that right on the website as well. Yep. Doug, war in the Middle East. I remember chatting with my mom and dad at the dinner table when I was much younger, when I was growing up, and I asked my parents, so what was it that caused the end of the Great Depression? And my parents looked at each other, and they realized it was World War II. So starting in October of 1929, the Great Depression began, and then it got worse and worse and worse, and then slowly it got a little better, and then we had World War II, and then there was this era of prosperity when the GIs came home. They had saved their money, and then they wanted to buy everything. They wanted to get married, they wanted to start families, and you had, neighborhoods starting up like Levittown. I mean, they were building houses as fast as possible. So we were building America at a record rate. And that's what got us out of the Depression. And my parents realized it as we were having that discussion. Is that why we're looking at war in the Middle East coming up? And let's talk about that in depth when we get back, right after these few short commercial announcements. Hey, Doug, what do you think about these commercials, huh?
Gotta love it. They gotta pay the bills.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
My dad was 59 when he collapsed from a heart attack late last year. Just this past August was when we spread his ashes on the St. Croix River. I loved my dad, but boy was he stubborn. He hadn't been to the doctor in over 25 years. His excuse? He simply couldn't afford it. He wasn't a rich man by any means. At less than $107 per month, libertyoncall.org would have been the perfect alternative for my father. Don't wait. Go to libertyoncall.org right now, for not just your sake, but for the sake of your loved ones. Again, that's libertyoncall.org.
Hello, my name is Don Wiskin from heartdrop.com, the distributors of Extendivite, the #1 heart drop that people have been raving about for years. Every February for the last 16 years, HeartDrop.com has had a Heart Month sale to help you stay heart healthy. For only $115 plus shipping and handling, you can get a 4-month supply of Extendivite in either liquid or capsule form to help you get started on your path to better health. Now is the time to stock up. Order what you need. Stay heart healthy all year with the #1 heart drop, Extendivite. To order your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website, heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Doug Hagmann's with us. And I mentioned that my mom and dad came to the conclusion that World War II ended the Great Depression. Doug, are we headed toward war in the Middle East, in your opinion?
Absolutely, without a doubt. And your parents were very astute. And I think everyone can agree that whenever there's a currency or economic crisis, war always follows. You know, I think Gerald Celente talks about currency wars, trade wars, and shooting wars, but even deeper than that. And I guess if there's any takeaway from our talk today, at least from my point of view, I would ask everyone to take a look at the entire situation domestically and geopolitically here in the United States and all across the West and especially into the Middle East. Look at this not as a series of disparate events, unconnected, unrelated, but look at this in a big picture sort of way and understand the view from cruising altitude, as I like to say, and understand that the events we are seeing are being exquisitely choreographed by. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm a way out there in terms of like some crazy guy. However, I'm an evidence guy. I'm a proof guy. I like to take a look at the totality of evidence, weigh the evidence, and then of course evidence is different than proof, but understand the elements of what we're seeing and how they all work together for a predetermined, orchestrated end, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And that end comes in the form of depopulation, as stated by the globalists in power, and also by a massive reshuffling of power all across the globe, in particular in the Middle East. And at the very epicenter of this is oil. It's cash, it's money, it's currencies, it's the survival and fate of all of the countries. And, it's a battle within a battle. We're looking at a 3D chessboard. We're looking at 3D chess being played, while the average American can't even get their minds around a simple game of checkers, and we're being laughed at by those people in power. So for not understanding. So it's a very complex situation, and I didn't mean to really stretch out that answer, but I really want people to understand the big picture here, because we are all being gamed in this, and America has been captured. We're a captured operation, captured from within, and our boys, our men and women are being sent out there to do the bidding of the bankers and the financial interests to die on sands, thousands upon thousands of miles away for what? To spread democracy? Heck no. It's for monetary interests, and as you said at the beginning, to enrich those and to solve financial problems.
About 30 feet from where I'm seated in the studio, there's a library that I've assembled. Actually, our family's assembled this library over the years, and this particular library right outside the studio is about wars. And in that library, there's 2 volumes about World War II, and it's General George S. Patton's playbook. These are, if you were to weigh these, the 2 volumes, is probably 30 pounds, literally. And it's large, it's heavy, and there are all these skirmishes and battles and encounters with the enemy. And there are sections that describe how many expected wounded, how many expected casualties, those kinds of things. And it's clear by reading this that they're going into these battles and skirmishes, and they're saying, okay, we're going to lose 8,000, and we're going to have more than that wounded, and there's a number associated with that. Should we do it? Yeah, that's good. We should take that hill. We should go and get that hill. 8,000 dead, that's certainly an acceptable number. Now, I'm sure the other team had, their version of the playbook, and I have a feeling that at the highest levels, there are people making decisions as to how many people are going to get killed, wounded, and so forth. And the battlefield scars that are going to be left for a while, and some maybe for even longer than a while. I believe that at the highest levels, those kinds of discussions occur. Does that make sense to you? That we'll throw in 100,000 of our guys and we'll get them killed, and you guys throw in 100,000 of yours, and that'd be good. That's a good start, and we'll be in the population reduction business, and we'll all make money. I really believe that kind of discussion happens. Do you think that could be true?
Absolutely, 100%. And, I'm glad you mentioned World War II, because, we're looking right now at, I suppose people would say we're looking at a global jihad by the Islamic terrorists, and everyone is looking and pointing at Islamic terrorism and saying, okay, well, this is the problem. But what people, I think, fail to understand is the origins of this global jihad that we're seeing. And those people who study history can go back into both post-World War I, pre-World War II, and in the early stages of the Second World War, and understand that the people behind the formation of the Allies and Axis powers realized that they could take Islam and weaponize Islam because, well, Islam would be good to exploit because of their initial and basic ideology of kill by the sword. And there are so many, so many statements made by people like Himmler and others who said, what we can do is we can use Islam to our advantage, create these platoons of Muslims, send them out. We could take the entirety of the Islamic religion, weaponize it, and use them to fight against the Judeo-Christians of the European continent. And we saw that in the forms, the what we saw was the Holocaust, for example. But that had, I guess what I'm saying is the current roots of our global jihad today stem from the World War II weaponization of Islam, and even before that, but more refined during World War II. So yes, in the bowels of Saudi mansions, in the bowels of mansions in the United Arab Emirates, there are people, and maybe this is too hyperbolic to say. I'm just kind of trying to create a mental image here, a mental picture. But yeah, there are people out there who are saying, okay, well, we can advance this particular objective in terms of reshuffling the power in the Middle East, and we might lose 500,000 here or 250,000 there, bigger numbers now. But the end game objective is to switch the balance of power. And when you trace the monetary interests, you're looking at coming back to the petrodollar, and of course, and your audience is so intelligent, they understand that there's nothing backing the United States dollar except the promise that our dollar and our military will ensure the free flow of oil throughout the Middle East and throughout the world. That's the only thing keeping up the U.S. dollar. And they intend to kill the U.S. dollar for a global currency, but until such time, they want to keep the dollar alive just long enough so everyone gets aboard. You can notice how strong the dollar is. Ask any financial advisor right now. But soon that's going to come to an end. It's kind of a gradual rise to a sudden drop. I hope. I don't know if I made sense with that, but there's a lot of complexity to what we're seeing taking place, and it's not what we're being told.
There was a time when our family owned a fez. It was a red fez, and it had it was an SS fez. This was like a cloth cap, if you will, or a hat that was part of the 13th Waffen Mountain Division of the SS, the Nazi SS Handschar Division. So when many of us might not realize that we did have Muslims fighting against us in World War II, and they were fighting with the Nazis. And
absolutely,
it was the SS. Absolutely. Yeah. So we may not realize that. And that was a what would you call that? A multi-ethnic SS. It really was. So when we talk about...
Yeah, they were really nasty in terms of, beheadings, absolutely. To read about this, and that's why history to me is so important. But there's so much revisionist history out there. It's unfortunate what's being taught in our universities and our colleges, and even our high schools, or even elementary schools. Is been revised to the point where it's unrecognizable from the truth, which is why your library is so exquisitely important. And that's why you can speak the truth on your program and with authority, because it's the real course of events. It's the unvarnished truth.
Mm-hmm. And class, just as a side note, the reason we have books and they take a lot more space and they're a lot heavier and they're more expensive than electronic forms of information. The reason we have them is that they will last quite a long time, unless there's a fire, of course. But the plan is that it's really hard to rewrite books because you actually have to republish them, whereas electronically you can change history in the blink of an eye and distribute that rewritten history very quickly across the globe. And that's why I have come out against all of this electronic media that we're using in schools, because you can rewrite history very quickly. And who rewrites history? Well, those would be the victors. Let's talk about the economic collapse. You think it's coming?
Well, it has to. And the only question, I suppose, Vince, is when. When will this happen? Well, everyone's got an opinion on that. My answer to that is it's coming, and it's going to come when they decide to push the button and make it happen when it's most profitable for them all.
Doug Hagmann's with us. Hagmann and Hagmann.com. Hagmann&Hagmann.com. Link on the website. And if you're interested in the Hear the Watchman conference, there's a link for that as well. We'll be right back. By now, you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Are you looking to sell body armor? Want to make extra money selling body armor at your local gun shows? With low minimum buys and great returns, Katie Armor is the answer. Make money in your spare time. It's American-made body armor with the quickest turnaround in the industry, which means you get your product when you need it at very competitive rates. And they'll ship it to you for free. If you own a business, give them a call today at 855-488-KATIE. That's 855-488-2284. Or go to katiearmor.com. Come and take it.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
I studied finance and economics at the university level, and after that, I worked for a Fortune 100 company, and then I became involved in banking, and I was designing computer systems for a very large bank. I was in the president's office, and the marketing VP came in, and he was talking about selling this portfolio and securitizing, and I thought, I feel kind of at a disadvantage because I never heard those, discussions before in class where we sold a portfolio of debt. So what I'm saying is that let's say we had $1 million in debt, on credit card debt, and we would take that debt and we'd sell it to another bank, and then they would sell it to investors. And I thought, this is a house of cards. We're actually taking money that's owed to us and selling it to another bank who is selling it to investors, and people are expecting that there's not going to be any default on this credit card debt. This is literally a house of cards. And back in the 80s, I said, man, I got to get out of here because absolutely no question, if this is what's going on at our bank and it's going on at other banks, and the investment banks are buying this credit card debt, which I can't believe anybody would buy debt. It was foreign to me. I didn't understand it. I wasn't trained for that. I thought this is literally a house of cards and it will collapse. And that's what drove me to realize that the financial collapse is here. And it's coming, I should say. What woke you up to this?
Wow. Well, I paused there only because there are a number of things. When you look at, it's one thing. Yeah.
Doug, let me say it this way. So let's say I owed you $100, okay?
Right.
And I said, I'll be glad to pay you for it. And then you take my IOU, because I actually write it down for you and I hand it to you and I say, I owe Doug $100. And then you take that and then you sell it to, a guy and say, listen, Vinny owes me $100. Tell you what, give me $90 for it and I'll give you this piece of paper. And then that guy says, okay, you got a deal. And then he cuts that up 100 different ways and sells it to 100 different other people. Now everybody's expecting that Vinny's going to pay. And that may not be the case. That's what that scenario is what caused me to realize that people will lose their jobs. They won't be able to pay their credit card bills. They're not secured by anything. This is nuts. And we're selling this. Yep. And that's just, just one little component of what's wrong.
Well, when I listened to your show yesterday with John Regan, I mean, he really spelled it out pretty well. But to answer your question about what woke me up is just basically the fact that people were telling me that when I say people, I'm talking about our government officials, and they were saying, look, everything's just rosy, it's fine, it's great, and in my business, dealing with Fortune 100 companies, what I would see as I would bill them for my services, I would see the gradual. It would take them longer to pay invoices, for example, on a consulting level. And we're not talking about tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. No, we're talking about just normal, everyday workmen's wages, we'll say. Okay, and the more I looked into the infrastructure, the more I started questioning the figures that were given to me by the people on the evening news. The more I looked at, I'm for example, I'm conducting an investigation in Brooklyn, New York, and I'm looking around. I'm seeing a lot of homeless people. I'm seeing a lot of decay, and it's in the face of what I'm hearing. So that kind of woke me up, and it's just crazy.
I don't think those who are in Washington who are telling us what they want us to do really see what's really happening to we the villagers. I don't think they see it the way we see it. And when we come back, Doug Hagmann will be with us, Hagmann and Hagmann.com. That's Hagmann with two N's and Hagmann.com. When we come back, let's chat a little bit more about the supply chain, the economic collapse, and what you think we might be seeing. I'm very concerned about it, and we'll share a story. Doug Hagmann. We'll be right back. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat? Hey, John, I think at the bottom of the hour, Myriam will be calling. If you can defend your food supply from predators, you may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Class, I'm delighted to be broadcasting second hour of USAPrepares.com with Doug Hagmann. Hagmann and Hagmann.com. Hagmann and A-N-D Hagmann.com. Hagmann and Hagmann.com. And you can also go to the website, USAPrepares.com, and be linked to Hagmann and Hagmann.com, and also HearTheWatchman.com. Doug, we're talking about the economic collapse, and I want to share something, very brief story with you. I'm a preparedness guy, and I like to have things that I know we're going to need, and when they're on sale, I buy them. So I bought 3 gallons of 2-cycle engine oil, and what you do is you mix this 2-cycle engine oil with the gasoline, and that's the lubrication for the engine. And we use that mix in motorcycles, and we use that mix in chainsaws. We heat our farm with wood, and we have a very low electric bill as a result. Well, here's the thing. So I was asking our son, by the way, where's all the oil that I bought? He said, oh, it's almost gone. And I said, wait a minute, there's 3 gallons. It's mixed 32 to 1. That's the ratio. 32 parts of gasoline to 1 part of engine oil. And he said, yeah, it's almost gone. Now here's the point. So we heat with wood, and we think, well, there's plenty of wood, and we'll just cut down we'll cut up those fallen trees that are in the woods, not cut live trees, but the dead wood, there's plenty of that. Cut that up and use it for heating. Well, if the supply chain fails because of the economic collapse, where are we going to get something as simple as 2-cycle engine oil? Forget the gasoline, just even the oil, because without the oil, we can't run the chainsaws, can't cut the wood to heat our house. That's just one little item that is of concern to me. Do you have concerns like that regarding the economic collapse?
Oh, absolutely. And your story about the oil is really a template for pretty much everything. A couple of years ago, whenever that, I think it was Hurricane Sandy that affected the east coast of the country, even here in the middle Atlantic, well, northwest Pennsylvania, where I'm at, we were supposedly going to be on the tail end of some nasty weather, and I just happened to go to Walmart to take a look, and I was going to buy some bottled water. I didn't really need it, but I figured, okay, but nonetheless, I went there and I was shocked to see empty shelves. I mean, cleaned out of a Walmart supercenter, cleaned out of bottled water, the flashlights, batteries, the things that were just gone. But we live in an age of 1,000-mile salads where our lettuce is imported and transported very far from where it's produced. And I think that we've gone, over the course of the years, we've gone to a system that it's a self-inflicting wounds, for example. No one is buying local anymore from local farms, and that's tied closely to the illegal immigrant employment situation, which is tied into the policies of D.C. And on top of all that is the absolute clueless nature of the majority of Americans who really don't understand how the system works. So, I look at supply disruptions coming that will bring people to their knees. And, thank goodness for programs like yours where you teach people how to prepare, what should be, what they should be doing, and how to do it as well. So all of this really is so important. But the bottom line here is I see such unnecessary, painful events coming. Painful to the average American because they were too busy watching the Oscars or Emmys or whatever shows, or watching the theatrics play out in the political arena, as opposed to looking at the bigger picture and understanding that it really doesn't matter to a large extent. For example, who is going to get the nomination? Of course it does, but not to the weight that they are giving it. And of course, we have been discouraged to think for ourselves. And again, this goes back to your program where you encourage people to think for themselves, and your meetups, and it's just a fantastic asset, if I may say so. But back to what you're saying, yeah, it's the supply disruptions that will come when America is knocked off as our currency is no longer the world's reserve currency, and that's coming. Is going to have such a dramatic effect. It's going to cause death, widespread death all across the world, and including here in America. And we've got major problems brewing. And if people don't start preparing right now, and I'm not talking about the sky is falling. I mean, I'm not talking about the end of the world. I'm talking about the end of a lifestyle that we've been grown accustomed to.
That's a really, really good point, because I traveled a little bit. I like staying home, but I traveled a little bit to the East Coast recently. And the lifestyle in these developments and in medium-sized cities is 24/7. You can get what you want. If you want pizza, you can get that. If you want to go food shopping, food stores, supermarkets are open 24 hours a day. If you want gasoline, no matter what it is you want, it's there. And if you need an auto part, if Pep Boys doesn't have it, AutoZone does. If they don't have it, Advance Auto does, and so forth. So you can get pretty much whatever you want because there's so much competition and it's there. But if the supply trucks stop running because, let's say, the grid goes down and companies can't order electronically, that is a huge concern, because I don't think there's enough inventory available to keep a city going for more than 3 days. We had a young gal who's one of our instructors. She was the casting director for Doomsday Preppers, and I've met her many times, and she's been to the expos, and she was telling us about Superstorm Sandy, and she did not have any water, and the traffic lights were not operating, electricity was down. She lives in New York City, and she said that it cost her about 3 to 4 times the price of what a normal case of bottled water would cost during the storm. So that same water that was in inventory went up 3 to 4 times in price. So that's a huge concern. So preparedness is, to me, is just having what you need before you need it. It's as simple as that. So Doug, in your broadcast, do you have one scenario that you think is the worst possible scenario that you're watching for, or is there one that's of greatest concern to you and your family?
Well, to me, the worst possible scenario would be, of course, some sort of electronic disturbance in EMP that would take out the grid. Obviously, that would be the mother of all situations where, we'd be watching television in the dark. Of course, I'm kidding. But no, I mean, where we would have no power whatsoever, that our circuits would be fried. That, to me, would, from the movie 1 Second After, which I think most of your audience is very familiar with, there's another movie, and in fact, I just had talked with the writer and the man behind it, Gary Haven, called Amerigeddon, which is it's coming out here in May. It's an extremely, wow, what a movie. But having said that, I think that's my nightmare scenario, because at that point, what do? You could have all the gasoline stored up that you need, and if your generators are not properly protected from an EMP, it's over. If you don't have wood, or if you don't have the means to have alternate sources of energy, we're back into the 1800s. Of course, I think the statistics, and I'm sure you're more familiar with this than I am, but the statistics would show a dramatic mortality in the first 90 days. I mean, we'd be losing a lot of people to death, but even now, some people might say, well, that's not going to happen. Okay, fine. Or perhaps it might be geographically isolated. Regardless of the situation, it would just be a bad day, it would be bad all over. But the other, I tend to look at things a little bit differently, maybe different from most. I'm looking at a situation where everyone is expecting this big event, and everyone's looking out and saying, okay, some asteroid's going to hit the planet, or something's going to happen that's going to just be totally ruinous to the entire planet. Everyone's looking for that. But, few people realize that as they're watching for this life-altering, earth-changing event, just look around you. We're seeing the incremental collapse of this country and of the Western society right as you're watching for it. You don't have to look up and be looking for an asteroid or looking up to see perhaps some detonation of a nuclear device over the country, because we are already involved in the process of destruction right now. And it's an orchestrated takedown of Western society. It's an orchestrated takedown of our culture. It's an orchestrated takedown game plan of depopulation. And I mention that again because one of the biggest things is the green agenda. And what's that all about? Well, at the very end of the day, all roads lead to, an old world order. And people kind of get goofy when you start bringing up New World Order stuff, and they say, that's all just a bunch of woo stuff, and it's just, But the fact of the matter is, there are groups, or a group of globalists out there with a lot of power, a lot of money, and they are the ones that are setting the agenda for this takedown, and it's happening right before our very eyes, but no one is watching it.
Doug Hagmann, when we come back, I'll share with you a very short story about just one little tiny piece of this takedown, just one little piece, antibiotics, and firsthand experience. Doug Hagmann, and we'll be right back. By now you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
If you want to raise the next generation of Patriot leaders, take a look at Freedom Project Academy, a Judeo-Christian online school for kindergarten through high school. No Common Core teaching methods or high-stakes testing. Freedom Project Academy is government-free, doesn't accept any government funding, and is a fully accredited private school. All classes are taught live online with real teachers across the country. Open enrollment runs March through July, but classes fill up quickly. Check them out at fpeusa.org. That's fpeusa.org.
Class Doug Hagmann's with us. And so, Doug, here's a piece of anecdotal evidence. I was talking with someone who is involved in the veterinarian business. And I asked about antibiotics, and they said, no, we can't let farmers have antibiotics for their animals without seeing the animal. Now, it used to be that a farmer could go to the vet and say, okay, I'll take a bottle of amoxicillin or doxycycline, or why don't we add a case of syringes to this list? I've got to inject all my animals. Well, the antibiotics has been shut down to the point where you have to have the vet see the animal in order to get antibiotics now. That happened January 1. That's a problem for farmers, because that means that if it's a cow, the vet has to come out. Now that's a house call. That's an expensive proposition for a vet to come, 50 miles round trip or 60 or 70 miles round trip to look at a cow to give you antibiotics. So we're slowly being restricted. Slowly, more and more regulations are in our way, preventing us to transact business. I mentioned to the meetup group last night that I bought a track loader, an old 1970s model Caterpillar track loader. It's let's say a 25,000 pound piece of, it's like a bulldozer, but with a big bucket. And it was really difficult to find someone to haul that with a tractor trailer from out of state to Missouri. It wasn't far. It just had to cross state lines. And there's so many restrictions and so many inspections and detections and fines associated with anything that goes wrong that hardly anybody wanted to be involved in the transportation of that piece of gear. So there's this two little pieces of anecdotal evidence of what I've seen recently, within the last couple of weeks. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah, the antibiotic situation that you mentioned first there, I see that as a huge problem for a lot of reasons, because a lot of preppers, it's my understanding, and you know more about this than I do, a lot of preppers will stockpile antibiotics for human consumption. I mean, it's the same, sure. I look at that somewhat like the ammunition shortage that we experienced a number of years back, where there are false in addition to regulations, the government is doing everything they can to make it much harder for people who are actively preparing and trying to be unreliant upon police or emergency services, to be more reliant upon themselves to avoid doing so. And that, to me, is nothing more than a consolidation of power and subjugation of the public to this leviathan of a government. And the same, too, with the regulations. My goodness, as a PI, as a multi-state licensed investigator, the regulations that I've seen take place over 30 years, some good, some necessary, but others just merely revenue generating and punitive in favor of the larger companies that, of course, will be lobbying for certain senatorial or political interests. So it's complex, but yet it certainly can be traced back to just follow the money and look at who's behind all of these little maneuvers.
And also we can add to that the opinions that are formulated with those who watch television. So, for example, let me give you one example. We have animals, and every once in a while we have to inject them with some medication. I don't like doing it, but when they're sick, we have to treat them. Well, it's not all that uncommon to come to our farm and find a syringe with a needle, on the kitchen table. And let's say somebody from the big city came over to visit us and saw that. What would they think? What would be the first thing that would come to their mind? I'm sure the last thing that would come to their mind is that either we were going to use that in 20 minutes to inject one of our animals, or we've already used it and we're going to sterilize it and maybe use it again. That would not come to their mind, right? What would come to their mind is we're a bunch of druggies, right?
Of course. Exactly. Yeah.
And what would happen if they opened a cabinet and saw a case of syringes? What would happen? Absolutely perfectly legal to own them. It's not like we're doing anything wrong. It's just that these mental images that people have been programmed to have may not be accurate. Doug Hagmann's with us. We'll be right back. Another commercial announcement. We'll be right back.
Don't know what's in your drinking water? Better get a ProPure. With the Pro 1G 2.0 all-in-one filter, remove over 200 contaminants, including fluoride and lead. Taste water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure water filtration products. There's a ProPure system for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details on our current free shipping special or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
The Genesis Communications Network is one of America's premier broadcasters of captivating talk radio. We thank you for listening. Now, just imagine, there are thousands of people who are just as passionate about radio as you are. But what you may not realize is how easy and affordable it is to advertise with us. Radio commercials for your business could be heard on hundreds of radio stations across the U.S. every day. We can help you by creating an effective radio advertising campaign for your company. From script writing to producing your commercial, just like the one you're listening to right now. No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Attention USA Prepares listeners. When you're on the road or have limited data or Wi-Fi, now you can listen to USA Prepares unfiltered and untapped at no extra charge on this non-federal phone number, 1-605-477-3249. Try it now to listen to USA Prepares 24/7 at no extra cost or data charges. These are not on federal lines. These are lines located on Indian reservations off the grid. Call 1-605-477-3249. No smartphones or internet needed. To hear USA Prepares untapped and off the grid, just call 1-605-477-3249.
Hey, I rode the elevator with you, but I don't work on the upper floors. I just want to squeeze in there right next to you, so the RFID scanner in my pocket can capture all your personal information, your debit and credit cards, even your work ID badge. So your identity is now my identity. Going up, so am I.
For over 10 years, ID Stronghold has pioneered RFID blocking wallets and ID badge holders for consumers, the U.S. military, and even the Executive Office of the President. Shouldn't you be protected too? ID Stronghold wallets cost about the same as wallets in most stores, but give you extra protection.
I'm Walt Augustinowicz, founder and CEO of ID Stronghold. Don't be a victim of electronic pickpocketing. Protect yourself from crimes you can't see with ID Stronghold wallets, card sleeves, and purses.
Visit idstronghold.com and get the original RFID blocking wallets and badge holders. idstronghold.com.
Are you looking to sell body armor? Want to make extra money selling body armor at your local gun shows? With low minimum buys and great returns, Katie Armor is the answer. Make money in your spare time. It's American-made body armor with the quickest turnaround in the industry, which means you get your product when you need it at very competitive rates. And they'll ship it to you for free. If you own a business, give them a call today at 855-488-KATIE. That's 855-488-2284. Or go to katiearmor.com. Come and take it.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help, so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
Class Doug Hagmann's with us, and of Hagmann and Andy, Hagmann.com. And joining us is Myriam Witcher. Myriam Witcher is the lady who ran on stage to be with Donald Trump, and she's considered his biggest supporter. And Welcome, Myriam Witcher.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. So you're calling us from Las Vegas, and you're very concerned about who becomes president of the United States, and you're supporting Donald Trump. What happened that made you run on stage and become quite the instant celebrity in Las Vegas and in the media?
Well, Vincent, I studied about Donald J. Trump for 20 years of my life. And Donald Trump, for me, is my best mentor, business, beautiful human being, beautiful heart. And Donald Trump, for me and for Hispanic, American, Latino culture, is completely admiration, love, respect, and as a distinguished American white man, we love him and we adore him. It's unbelievable. He made a big difference in the Latino, Hispanic American citizen. Is outstanding, a gentleman. Then he brings so many hearts together. It's like words can express our love and gratitude about Donald J. Trump. Sometimes we have tears in our eyes. The way sometimes people attack him unnecessary when he wants to make this country functional, beautiful for America and for the worldwide. We have so many, by years, by culture, by history, how much we have a lot of pain in our heart, a lot of sadness when we had more than 450 years history, and what we accomplished from Mexico to Spain is just little. So many of our relatives from 5 generations pass away with sadness, and our love and motivation and passion here in the United States of America is we don't want to repeat it again what happened in our original countries. This is what we love Donald Trump. We want to give it to him our 110%. Unfortunately, so many people born and raised here, they don't have experience to be overseas, to live in Venezuela, when we were very successful business people there. And one day, suddenly, that we made the money, we are the intellectual people there, with money, education, power, and everything, help Venezuela be decent country. And one day, the same, is similar like United States today. Some people vote for the socialists, one step more to be a communist. When we had the freedom, there is not freedom anymore in Venezuela. All my relatives lost all the companies when they were very successful for years. Now the money from my relatives, this money, similar like Donald Trump here in the United States, Venezuela took the money, and this money go for only 5% of the Venezuelan people be rich, be like a king, and the other population is starving, no food, no jobs, and nothing. I don't want this to happen to the United States of America. This is our real love and passion for Donald J. Trump.
Class, what you're hearing, although you haven't heard Myriam Witcher before, she's a successful entrepreneur, and she had a pretty large company. And my understanding is that this company has been forced, It's been whittled down through regulation after regulation after regulation by the Obama administration. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Obama is the kind of man. He's not a business person. I'm completely, like American citizen, completely in pain, lost. Our illusions and dreams is completely gone. The only future we have is Donald J. Trump. Is the only one and the last one. I don't believe, from very deep inside my heart, I don't believe any other American can make this country great again. It's impossible. Donald J. Trump is almost 70 years old. He's in a perfect age. We are babies. No matter if we are smart and we have visions and everything, but Donald J. Trump has the experience, the knowledge, is a visionary. What he sees today, he can predict the future. We can't see it. But I guarantee for sure, Vincent, about this conversation today, you know what? This is almost the same when the airline said, please put your seatbelt and the airplane is going to crash. This is the same United States of America. We are going down the hill and nobody can stop. The only way we can have a hope is with Donald J. Trump. There is not any other way. I don't see a hope. I don't see anything. Include this guy. I feel very deep gratitude for him because he brings love, passion again for us. Before I was completely homeless. Not a dreams, nothing. Everything was gone. Then I suggest today is a big day, Super Tuesday. I suggest to every single American citizen, this is not a joke. This is not for fun. We are electing the President of the United States of America. It's our future, and we are overwhelming. We can handle more. This is devastating. These days, our job is not, we can't, like employer, we can't afford full-time jobs anymore. It's impossible. No matter if we account those pennies carefully, we can't afford. We can't afford Obamacare. It's not good for the employer. It's not good for the employees. It's not good for the homeless either. This is a joke. We are jobless in 50 states in the United States of America. We are completely unsafe. We are losing so many lives here in the United States from different races, and it's painful. 11 million illegals or more when you do not know what is the real name about those people. When you do not know who are those people, we are not safe. This is why, one of the reasons, we support Donald J. Trump's Second Amendment. We need to protect our life. And this is the last time, America, we are going to have the freedom, because Hillary Clinton, Obama, Bernie, Cruz, and Rubio, the direction they are taking, they are politicians, and they are very close friends. Peña Nieto, Maduro, Ortega, they are going in a direction to be a socialist and communist. Simple like that. This is the last time, and it's very, very sad. We Americans can go in a very dysfunctional path when this is the greatest country in the worldwide. Really very sad. I suggest Americans, please do not cooperate to abandon your land and go to another country when we can have the opportunity to live here like a decent American. We're proud. We got number one and have a beautiful values.
Myriam, let me see if I've got this right. I believe I heard you say the equivalent of don't jump ship, don't leave the country, make your stand and fight for America. Is that what you said?
Absolutely. We need to fight for this country. Vincent,
That's what I have decided to do a long time ago.
We need to fight for our country. We need to stand up for our country, for our generations and for the next generations, because those little kids, poor things, they do not know what they are going to do. We need to fight. We need to stay here. There is not any solution. We need to depart to another country. No, this is not. I born and raised in Colombia. And when I had the opportunity, Colombia was in the very, very terrible situation with Pablo Escobar, with the drug cartel, destroy the economy, destroy the people in Colombia and around the world. But very sad for the good people and the great people in Colombia. I do not abandon Colombia. I stay in my country, and I fight for Colombia, and I
Myriam,
stay there.
we're going into a commercial break. Doug Hagmann's with us. I'd like to hear when we come back Doug Hagmann's take on what you've just said.
All right.
So Myriam Witcher's with us. You've seen her on television with Donald Trump and on stage, and she and Doug Hagmann. I'll be right back. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Hey, I rode the elevator with you, but I don't work on the upper floors. I just want to squeeze in there right next to you, so the RFID scanner in my pocket can capture all your personal information, your debit and credit cards, even your work ID badge. So your identity is now my identity. Going up, so am I.
For over 10 years, ID Stronghold has pioneered RFID blocking wallets and ID badge holders for consumers, the U.S. military, and even the Executive Office of the President. Shouldn't you be protected too? ID Stronghold wallets cost about the same as wallets in most stores, but give you extra protection.
I'm Walt Augustinowicz, founder and CEO of ID Stronghold. Don't be a victim of electronic pickpocketing. Protect yourself from crimes you can't see with ID Stronghold wallets, card sleeves, and purses.
Visit idstronghold.com and get the original RFID blocking wallets and badge holders. idstronghold.com.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 Pain Hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
Attention citizens. This man has received national attention for accurately predicting every major financial trend, including the market crash of 2008. His name is Harry Dent. And in his newly released book, he is making even bigger and bolder predictions that have the potential to devastate the world economy and your personal wealth. You can get a free copy of Harry Dent's bestseller, The Demographic Cliff, containing never-before-published information by simply visiting www.harrydentresearch.com. Again, that's www.harrydentresearch.com.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll-free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Class, Myriam Witcher's with us, and Doug Hagmann's with us, and let me just preface this. I'd love to hear Doug Hagmann's comments. 40 years ago, Venezuela was the fourth richest nation per capita in the world. Now it's in economic collapse. Inflation has hit 275%. The currency is virtually worthless. And why did this happen? Well, because top government officials embezzled billions and created a welfare state. And I believe Myriam is saying that we're headed that way if we don't get our act together and make sure that we don't reelect any politicians or promote any criminal politicians from where they are now to the highest office in the land. Doug, what are your thoughts about what Myriam said?
First of all, Vince, let me just say that I'm humbled and honored to even be able to share the front of the classroom with Myriam, and she has got my utmost respect. I only wish that the average American male had that passion, that love for our country, that her passion for what she believes and what we all believe is the right thing to do. And I am so proud to be able to stand here or to be with her. Words fail me at this point. What she did on that day in October of last year, October 8th, to get up there and say, this guy can lead us out of the morass in which we find ourselves, knowing herself personally being victimized by the tyrannical kind of government that we could have prevented 6 years ago. I mean, she is the ultimate American hero, in my view, and God bless her and every Christian, conservative, male American out there. Listen to this woman, emulate her passion, and you know what? She's a wonderful example. Let's dig in and fight back, and let's avoid the catastrophic possibilities that this woman is warning about and has lived through. So God bless her, and I appreciate her more now than I ever have in any of the stories. And she's weathered so much, Vince, so much criticism in the press that she's been a beacon of light in otherwise a dark electoral cycle. And God bless her. Thank you, Myriam. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Myriam, did I overstate that your company has been reduced in size by the Obama regulations?
Yes, Vincent. The Obama regulation is not is absolutely a disaster for our economy. He is not a man stand up for a small business or big business. This is one of the reasons so many companies abandoned our country, and it's devastating. I know he's not a business person, but still, we feel like we don't have a president. We are completely hopeless. Not for the economy, not for our safety either. After we lost those gentlemen in Benghazi, this brings too much pain in our heart. It's absolutely so sad for every American citizen inside in the heart. The difference are they are so silent. I'm not, because I coming from the culture, like I told you, 450 years in pain. Then we can handle this. We, Hispanic, Latino, American citizen, and Afro-American citizen, we don't have any president represent us. The only one represent us. It's unbelievable. It's Donald J. Trump. It's the only one. He represents our dreams, our illusions, and our pain. And he understands, is the more beautiful human being. How he understands our pain. How he understands our frustration. How he understands exactly our fears and our dreams. And this is one of the reasons, Vincent, we support him 110% until we see him in the White House.
By now you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better mate.